All right. Well, hey, everybody. It is team time. It's Monday, July 21st, the first Monday after Optavia Impact, which was like our virtual convention. So glad you guys are here. Got to see some of you guys in person over the weekend, which was great. And tonight we're just going to spend time not just talking about the jacuzzi experience and how great it was, but for those of us that were able to watch it, to actually share what does this mean to us? What are we going to do differently going forward? Maybe do a little live coaching on this with somebody who attended on Saturday that we started a conversation on. And at the end, you guys, we're going to do the drawing for the coach certification. And I just want to show you this real quick because, the Optavia came out with the new requirements. Um, we have to certify every year now. It's important for our business renewal. Came out on July 1st. And, as with anything, something comes out and we can be like, hey, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. So that's why I put out the challenge to do this. Go ahead and get it done in the first 2 weeks. Let's knock it out. Let's elevate ourselves. And y'all stepped up. You guys stepped up. We had 21 of us on our team sign up for this and complete it. Not just complete it, but complete it with raving success. So let me show this real quick. These, you'll hopefully see your name up here because if you are certified, you're probably on this call. Can you guys see this okay? Can somebody unmute and let me know? Yes, I see a thumbs up. All right. So congrats. We've got Beth Bilton, Caitlin Campbell, Pat Daniel, Shauna and Frank, Lori Day, Casey Del Salvo, Vicky Feldman, Trina Finley, Barbara Fost. She was our very first one who did it on July 2nd. Meg Johnson, myself, Gina, Kelly, Vicky Meister, Debbie Pasco, Lori Pulver, Carolyn Twitchell, Lori Schlegel, Ellen Stone Stewart, Stephanie Sweeney, and Linda Young. So well done, you guys. So good. And I know we talked about it last week, but really good feedback by doing this. So even if you didn't make it to be entered in this drawing, if you let me know you certified, I would love to individually recognize you in the group. And if you have new coaches come on your team, this is something that we'd want them to go ahead and do. The process just really familiarizes you with everything that is Optavia. So speaking of which,
See?
yeah.
Yeah. Danette and I both did it. And I know I submitted. I think Danette did too. I don't know. Maybe something happened, obviously.
No,
I will get.
I didn't submit, Diane.
Oh, you didn't submit it?
No, I just did it for the first time. Yeah.
Oh,
I
But you
haven't-
completed it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put you guys in the drawing. If you give me a
Okay.
second at the end,
No, that's
I'll do it
fine. I
and I'll
don't need to be
recognize
in the
you.
drawing. I just wanted to see if
Yeah,
something
I don't need to be in the
happened.
drawing either. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you
I'm
guys
good.
are sweet. But
Yeah, no, that's fine.
thank you for sharing because it
Yeah.
is worthy of recognizing. And
Okay.
and so my bad on that. So that's why I did want to share this too. So it would give the opportunity for anybody to speak up that had not been recognized. So that is awesome. Congratulations. So a couple of things, and really I wanted this to be more your time around Optavia Impact, but it was a pretty significant event in so many different ways, really kind of casting the vision, kind of reminder of who we are and who we're evolving to. And I think that was really, really valuable. So let me show you here. This is some of our watch parties. This is you guys who posted some pictures, but we had a good group of us here on Saturday at my house, including two coach candidates that were here, the two gentlemen in the picture. Debbie did something at her house, including a coach candidate and a new coach. And then Kelly, tell us about that. You joined a watch party in Texas.
Yeah, yeah. I just searched on the information that they had sent us, and they had watch parties in all these different states. And I clicked on Texas, and there were three, and that were posted there. Now I'm sure there were probably more, but that was just the number that had put a thing there. And so most of these ladies were part of Kristen Glass and Kristen Glass's coach, who is Lene. That's who those ladies were. And most of them were with that group. Okay. And so that's what I found out after I got there. I didn't know that at the time because the names that they put, that were, hosting and sponsoring I didn't recognize them. And so there was a global that came down from Denver that was part of the group that was there. And but anyway, they were a lot of fun ladies. And so we got there at like 10:30, and then there was like little nibbles that we nibbled on and did the whole thing and talked, visited with everybody. And then we stayed and had taco salads when we were done. And I laughed because I saw your post, Dee, when you were talking about y'all were having taco salad too. And then they offered, if we wanted to stay and spend the night, or we wanted to stay and swim or whatever, And so anyway, but I stayed till about 7 o'clock, and then I went home. So it was a full day. But it was a lot of fun. And but I really was like, oh man, I wish my people were here. But one of my coaches was texting me the whole time. She did it from home, but she was texting me the whole time. And my other new coach wasn't able. I don't know if he attended, because I didn't hear from him that day, because I know he had to take care of his brother, and so who's disabled. And so he may not have been able to attend. I don't know. We'll find out. If he's on tonight, if he's on, he can pop in. Glenn, if you're on tonight, you can pop in and tell us, how that all worked out. But anyway, so it was fun. It was fun. I'll stop talking. Y'all go.
Okay, very good. Well, that's exciting. That's exciting. And I will be sharing in a little bit about Convention 2026, which is an in-person event, and we will definitely be there. And what I'm super excited about is people we don't even know yet are going to be there with us as our team continues to grow. So as was stated on the call, the wave is here. The wave is coming, right? With the decline that we had, the adjustment to the marketplace, that's over. And we're back into the upward motion. So I think Nick Johnson said it, like the wave is coming, whether you decide to ride it or not. And I'm definitely going to be there. So these were some of my key takeaways. And if you weren't there or haven't had a chance to watch the recordings yet, just to kind of give you a glimpse into it, there was so much shared. It's impossible for me to share in 3 minutes or whatever here before I let others share. But I really liked it that Dan Chard talked about the evolution of Optavia. And then today, Dan Bell and Dr. Ray had their monthly leadership meeting and reinforced a few of these things. But, Optavia 1.0, right? It wasn't even called Optavia at that time. It was Health Innovations, which ultimately evolved into Take Shape for Life, which then over the years evolved into Optavia. But it was born in 1981. The first clinical study was done on our weight loss program. It's science-based, and at the time 15,000 doctors endorsed it. That number actually grew to 20,000 physicians over the years. And that's sometimes something that we don't necessarily think about, is the science behind our program. As we have evolved, we've kind of moved away from talking about that. But as we're entering into Optavia 3.0, there's going to be more talk around the medical side of this, what's really trending in the health and wellness arena. So Optavia 2.0 was the years that many of us came into this organization, but that's when Dr. A introduced the Habits of Health. They implemented our coaching model as the primary coaching, primary distribution method. And through that time and to this day, 3 million lives impacted, and over $3 billion has been paid in commissions to coaches. So very worthy program that is changing lives, very worthy business opportunity that is changing lives. And then Optavia 3.0 is this new era. And so we've talked about this 10-year plan, Nova, they talked about that up to Supernova, and maybe Stephanie Sweeney can explain the medical side of that to us in just a minute. But all the talk in health and wellness is around metabolic health and science. And so that is where the primary research is being done with the company. And that, Dr. A said, hey, it's great if we come up with a new flavor of a bar or a new product, but really staying in tune with medical research and clinical studies and metabolic health, and evolving in that arena is really what's going to help to continue us to grow as an organization. So that's where a lot of emphasis is. And then what we're being asked to do is actually be Optavia 3.0. So we've got our history of this solid medically based program. We've got a history knowing that we have served a lot of people and been compensated well for it. Now is taking this further into the world. And one, sharing your own journey boldly, your transformation, your journey to optimal health, and not just your weight loss story, but everything that is transforming in your life. Dan Chard talked about his own personal health, whereas his, it was not just, it was his visceral fat that improved. It was the fat around his liver. He had fatty liver disease, cognitive health, all of that improves over time as we change our habits. And then the last thing that was a really good reminder is that we've always talked about overweight and people who are overweight and who need our program, but real problem in the world right now is insulin resistance. And that's where the studies and research is being done. 85% studies are showing 85% of the population is insulin resistant. Our low glycemic plan, all of that can be, so much of it can be addressed through nutrition, and there'll be more coming on it. Some of the tools that are coming, I didn't have a picture of it, but there's going to be a GLP-1 companion guide. Dr. A's prescription for life is what that is. That is being released soon. A health focus on metabolic health, advanced lifestyle support, and set up for advancing product development. They also announced that the Habits of Health and Lifebook and the whole system is very soon going to be available in the app, including the audio version of the Habits of Health, and soon the Lifebook. So that'll be something that's going to be now offered free to our clients. Dr. A, that was something Dr. A had separate. People purchased those books separate. That is now going to be all incorporated into the app. He gave that to Optavia because he believed so strongly it had to be a foundation of our program. Another thing was we now can safely say, because they had a double-blind study, another clinical study done. But the big thing that came out of this was when somebody's following our 5-in-1 program, they preserve 98% of their muscle mass. That is huge in this era of everybody talking protein, people about losing muscle on the GLP-1 medications, other weight loss programs. To retain 98% lean muscle through our program is a great thing to be talking to people about. And then with the support of a coach, clients successfully lost 10 times more weight and 17 times more fat than those who did it alone. So showing that our whole system is what makes this work. And then they talked about EDGE and the duplication process, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail towards the end. But this is if you want to screenshot this, guys, and then I'd like you to get out your calendar and put it on your calendar, because it's so easy to say, yeah, I'll put that on my calendar. And then next thing you know, you booked a family vacation over it. But July, it's going to be, those are the dates in Orlando. So a very family-friendly place to bring your people, very accessible. Generally, you can get economical flights to that area. So this is something I really want us all to be a part of. And then the key is going to be in growth. And I just got notice of this, but next Tuesday night, July 29th, is the next Real Talk on Coaching, which is a huge opportunity to invite people to explore coaching with us. So what I'd like to do now is we can do any questions that you have around that, but I'd really rather hear from those of you guys who watched it, something that resonated with you and something that may make a difference for you going forward.
I wanted to mention that, the notes that I took, I'll get over it real quick, guys, so I won't take up all your time. But one of the things that Gabby said, the lady, she had on the pretty green dress, and anyway, and she had this big transformation in there. One of the things she said was, health is a door that is locked from the inside. And boy, that really was like, oh my goodness, because that really speaks to what we do with our habits and our mindset. It's from the inside. It's not something on the outside that we're doing necessarily. It starts here and it continues here, and that's where it goes. And then she was talking about how your kids are not going to do healthy things if they don't see you doing healthy things. If I'm going to talk the talk, I got to walk the walk. If they're going to hear me tell somebody you need to do da 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 da, or gosh, it'd be great, blah blah blah, then they overhear me say that, then I sure better be doing it myself. So I loved that. And then someone else was talking about how we need to, when you respond to an alarm, as a first responder, when you respond to an alarm, that they were talking about the metabolic dysfunction that 85% of Americans have. It's a 15 times crisis. I wrote that down. 15 times crisis on this alarm, because a 5 alarm is the worst alarm you can get for for a fire. But it's 15 times for the metabolic dysfunction. And then the phrase shepherding clients, I thought that was fantastic, because we use that term a lot in church. And so that meant something to me on every level about shepherding. So there was a whole lot of other, but I'll shut up so you guys can talk too.
Appreciate that, Kelly. Great. I loved that phrase that, what was it again? Health is a door locked from the inside. So what that basically means is there's nothing outside of any of us on this call. Anybody that you encounter, there's nothing outside of them that is going to resolve their health issue. It is the internal work. That includes the GLP-1 users, people that just come and try to just do the 5-in-1 on our program, et cetera, that it is bigger. And so that's a great quote that any of us can use in our coaching. So I'd love to maybe hear from somebody who doesn't often speak up on the call that watched it.
Oh, they want you to spend money on this stuff. That's what they want.
All right.
I'll
Let's
talk
see.
if no one else will.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was just gonna open it up.
Like, but you asked for somebody who doesn't normally talk, and I'm like, I never am shy.
Mhm.
Although I've covered up my screen with, okay, there it goes. Okay. So I wrote down some things that to me, they meant a lot. Like, just when you have like a history that you can track and you can say, this was this, and this means that, like, so things that I wrote down, that when clients plug into the coach in the community, they lose 10 times more weight than the people who try to do it on their own. And I know before we used to say to clients, hey, people who talk to their coach are at least twice as successful, but now it's like a 10x, huge difference. And then they also lose 17 times more fat. What? That's so much. Like that, and that to me, that quote or that expression, they lose 17 times more fat, means that they're losing the weight the right way and preserving the healthy stuff. And then, yes, you had said about the 98% lean muscle mass preserved, and it's because of being in fat burning and getting that macronutrient, micronutrient, nutrition need met. And then the other thing well, I wrote a lot of things, but another thing I wrote down was that one of the reasons they said we're on the threshold of our greatest growth, which I would love to have another greatest growth, because the last greatest growth was exciting. But it's because they're saying more than 50%. So over half of America is looking for non-medical weight loss. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but that to me is huge. And then another thing, and this is totally not even connected or related to the impact, but I heard them talking about, like, when they were talking about the big beautiful bill or something, that people are going to be able to use their FSA dollars for health related things, meaning like the gym. And I'm thinking that might also mean our program. So I want to learn about that, but that's another point that I thought I would bring up.
That's good. Yeah, those numbers are impressive. And that you can't argue with science. Like Dan said on a call today, like there are companies out there that are making claims on things just based on placebo effect, et cetera. But like what we have is grounded in science. And we do want to make sure we are posting proper compliance statements when you're out there as well.
Something else that stood out to me, sorry guys, something else that stood out to me was a statement that was made was whenever you feel imposter syndrome and you're thinking, I'm not good enough and I don't know anything to really coach anybody else. I mean, maybe I did this for myself, but I didn't, can I really do it for somebody else? Be there for somebody else and coach somebody else. Is that you already transformed, you have transformation power. And I
Mhm.
thought that said a lot, for people that, especially that were in the room with me. A lot of them were coaches that, were working to build a team. They hadn't gotten there yet. So, and of course it meant a lot to me too. So
Yeah. It's so good. We forget that we are a light. They talked about there was an example of a flame and like we're the candle and we're, you know what I mean? To just take what you have to light somebody else's flame, to awaken them to what is possible. How about you, Stephanie Sweetney? I know you were at my house on Saturday.
Yeah, I am excited that they're having the audiobook. I wrote down August 1st is going to be the release date for the Habits of Health audiobook, if anyone's interested in that release date. And if you look on your app, you can see aspects of the Habits of Health on the app as well. Yeah, I really liked how, they asked us, what does 3.0 mean to you? And after we went through all of that, and so, just reflecting on that, and the evolution of Optavia and where we're going with that 3.0. So, it got me thinking like, well, what that means to me is I really got to get over my fear of offering coaching to others and just kind of digging deep of like why do I fear that? And then so we got into a conversation which was kind of organic and kind of cool that afterwards when we were all sitting there kind of reflecting on it. And we ask our clients all the time like why, and we have them dig deep to find their why to make that transformation. So the 3.0 to me is like digging deep and finding that why of my fear of offering coaching. So, but I
Would you
thought it
be
was.
open to like digging into that a little bit right now? It's kind of a hot seat, vulnerable moment, but it might benefit. Does anybody else have hesitation regarding offering coaching? Any fears around it? Few people. Yeah. Yeah. So, so Stephanie, what comes to mind? Like, what is your, like, just the first thing that comes to mind, the initial resistance to offering coaching to someone? Like, what stops it from coming out of your mouth?
I think what stops is if I feel like they either don't need it or if they love their job or they're in a position where I assume they're in a position, not so much maybe with their job, but with their family or whatever, that they can't just take on one more thing. And so I think, okay, well, if it comes up. And, I've tried not to be that hero coach, which I was in the beginning when I was a baby coach, and not being that hero coach because I've had people tell me like, I don't have time for this. I mean, you do X, Y, and Z. And then I realized, okay, I'm just doing way too much for them and not making it realistic. So pulled back. So that's where I'm thinking like, okay, I've pulled back and I'm out of that drama triangle. So I need to figure out a little deeper.
Okay. Okay. What would be, I guess another question would be, do you believe it's in someone's best interest to become a coach? And if so, why?
Yeah, in a matter of time, because Dee, for everybody, Dee actually was asking me and like getting deeper with my why during that time. And so I'm gonna kind of jump ahead because I did some reflection on that. And I think and when I realized, what the resistance probably for me, and it's personal, I think for everybody, but I think of myself back when I already and I still do, I have a full-time job in the healthcare industry and working with children. And I've always loved what I do, always had the passion for anything I've done. And I know that not a lot of people feel that way or have that opportunity. And I heard a great quote by Simon Sinek that he said, when we work hard for something that we don't care about, it's called stress. And when we work hard for something that we do care about, it's called passion.
Mhm.
And I kind of feel guilty that I have two incredible job opportunities that fill my passion. And that I feel like I wasted a lot of my life being unhealthy, and I don't want to waste that again. And so I feel like I'm probably protecting that freedom. And in a sense, then I think back and I was like, okay, well, then it's like all me, 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 me. I'm protecting me. I'm doing this for me. And so I got to get out of that way and look, to somebody else because, they might love their job just like I love my job and still can do health coaching and have that passion too.
Yeah, I heard, if I can be honest, I heard a little bit of the hero when you said, well, they're already so busy and I don't think they could take on another thing. Like you're already like making a decision for them, right? Like, or assuming that they can't, when maybe this would be the answer, right? Like busy people can get a lot of things done. That's just the way it is, right? The busiest people can do a lot. And again, it might not be initial. They might not be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. Let's do this. You know what I mean? But if we can evolve it into just conversations with people, because you have a story where your coach easily could have assumed that you were too busy. You've got a very professional career, you're raising three girls, etc. Who average person probably wouldn't have thought that you would say yes. Somebody with fears around this. So it can be something that's done on the side, or if this could actually evolve into something that somebody potentially did full time, right? We see that happen all the time. And I think, I don't know, does anybody know the current statistics? But it's like 70 or 80% of people right now do not like their jobs. So people may be out there, they may be earning a lot, et cetera, but if they're lacking that meaning and purpose, if they don't feel like they're being fueled by purpose, they're not healthy. They're not healthy with it. Does any of your professional background get in the way of potentially or offering to a professional offering like a business model like this to them? Do you have any, for lack of a better word, ego around that?
Um, I don't, sometimes I do get, and I find this with other people in my field too, and we feel this way as well, that since we're around so many different areas of psychology, that we think everybody knows about the brain and how it works and habit change and behavior change and everything else, and realizing, okay, no, it's not that way. And some things that might come, easier for me when I think about the science aspect of it doesn't. And but that's not all what we do with coaching. And and that's again like bringing it back to the 3.0, and the holistic 4, and that we're not just working on the science base of the nutrition, but the science base of the mindset change as well. And that when we take care of each other and work with each other and with a team, that we want each other to win and succeed in all aspects and of their life, which includes financial freedom as well. That that this is what this was what it could offer them and it could provide for them. And so just trying to come up with my wording of offering it, whether it's, and I'm open for suggestions, y'all throw them in the chat or text it to me or whatever, is like, whether it's, do you want to see what I do? Or do you want to see how this can bring purpose in your life? How, you might be that person that might be able to help 5 people that wouldn't have otherwise if you weren't coaching or exploring what that could be. So those were just some of the thoughts I had and then when I say it out loud, it helps me because it's something I could say to other people.
I think,
Are you
and
talking about talking to people who are not clients or just other people or people who are
Both,
clients of yours?
both, because I have some others that I know that that they don't need a weight loss or any of that, but I think they would be incredible coaches. And even like the comments and likes that they give on my posts um and message me. And so I think
there's some great comments coming up right now. I want you to take a look out before we end. But the reality is, it does get better with practice, right? And so the more we can make this less scripted and the more we can make it conversation. So with those individuals that you're like, okay, they don't need to lose weight, et cetera, what an opener I think should always be, would you be open to the idea of exploring or learning more about what I do? That's it. Or what coaching could look like for you. Because you're just looking for that yes. And then I would set up that appointment for another time. And then they've come to that appointment with the acceptance and understanding that they're going to learn about coaching and talk about coaching. So we want to make it as less weird as possible. But those friends that you have, I'd be like, hey, I have always admired you, how much you've committed to your health. I appreciate the support you share for me. I'm just curious, would this be something that you'd be interested in exploring? I would love to share you what it's done for me financially, personally. Would you be open to looking at it?
So great. Thank you.
And I had shared with the group, if anybody else does struggle with this as we wrap up, this was a stumbling block for me. Like I had gotten to executive director, ran a really huge frontline volume, but I was stuck in the coaching side of it. And what I realized over time was that I had concepts that I was kind of afraid to offer this business model to people. I thought wondered more what they would think to me. I didn't know how to do it. I would think they came to lose weight. Why would they want a business? Like it didn't add up in my head. But then when I really looked at how it had changed my life, what it had done for me, how I came to it through the business, through Optavia, I realized, okay, I just got to figure this out. And Kelly put something in there about, you get better at it through practice. So I will say the first couple times you start doing this more often, it's going to feel awkward. It probably will. You might stumble. You realize, oop, that won't be saying that again next time. But it's just like when you first shared about the program, you do it probably in such a different way now. So we only do it by getting our feet wet. But I had shared on Dr. A's call today something that really resonated with me through the whole event, and by having coach candidates there, by watching the new coaches on our team and how well they're doing, and sharing coaching is the hugest opportunity right now. And for those of you guys that don't know, that's how I built my business. That's how I built to presidential and then integrated presidential, was by offering coaching to individuals. And most of those individuals were not involved with Optavia. I think 6 of my 10 executive directors for presidential came from outside. It was the Julie Apples, it was Debbie Pasco's, like people that were not involved in Optavia from a weight loss perspective. So it is a huge opportunity, something that if it's stirring in you, like, hey, that's an area that I'm more than happy to do some private coaching with you around it, but would love to help you grow in that area, because I think that's really where we can make the greatest impact as a team. I know it's where my energy is. I'm actually excited about it again, which is fun, right? Because that's what we want to do, is be sharing with excitement. So the last thing is that they really talked about the edge activities. The edge activities have now been the universal activities of posting, adding new friends to your social media, starting conversations with them, offering coaching, and sticking to your eating plan. Like those are your nutrition, those are the business building activities. And if we're doing anything in this business, those are the things. We do have an accountability group for that, of individuals that have said, yes, I want to commit to doing that on a consistent basis. And if you would like to join that, just send me a message. I will get you in that group. I am leading from the front. I am plugging in my app every day and reporting to this group every day that I'm doing this, and all of it. I'm not cafeteria picking it, because cafeteria picking will not get the outcome of every aspect of the business. So would love for you to come along with us for that too. I think it's going to make a big difference. So I think that's it. The community call is on food addiction, and those are always good. So I encourage you to hop over there and invite your clients if they don't know about it. All right. Thanks, Stephanie, for being on the hot seat. Thanks, Kelly, for sharing. Debbie, we'll see you guys next week.